Sometimes when it comes to recruiting and talking about signees and commitments, programs have to make a decision. Are the rankings, is the power behind the rankings more important than the actual work, actual talent? Have you filled the rooms? Have you provided the positions of need? All of those are things that we'll talk about on today's Locked On Huskers.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey gang, happy holidays, DP. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Your Huskers every day. Thank you, everydayers, for coming and hang out with us and talking about the Huskers. Greatly appreciate you. If you have not subscribed, please take a second and do so. Hit the click button right there on the link there. You can put comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And a reminder, it's holiday season. It is not my mission to have all the answers. It's just in this conversation that we get to the right questions. And I think in this episode, I wanted to go through the rankings behind some of the players and then the things that we actually found out. Like, what did we actually find out about the players that committed to Nebraska and signed? The work that not only Coach Matt Rule, but all of these assistants who have gone up and down all over the country, trying to find talent that fits not only what they do, but their culture, the branding, people that will be in a position where they can succeed at Nebraska and Nebraska can succeed with them. So then you have to get into some of the film study and the things that you picked up along the way. Sometimes rankings are paper mache. And it's nice to see something that looks pretty. But then you have to get to the functional side. Is this player giving us what we need to do what we want to do at Nebraska? Now, again, second-year program, second-year coach under this staff. And of course, that staff may or may not change along the way. But the reality is with Matt Rule at the charge, and Marcus Satterfield and Tony White at the coordinator positions, we started to get some idea about what was possible, but we were always hinted. We were also hinted that, listen, some of these things may change. Some of the things that we did based on need and available talent and available development. Could we get these players to have success in the Big Ten Conference and then to put them in the best position to succeed? And sometimes with that, coaches will have to say, you know what, I will put this thing away because we don't have anybody who can do this thing at the level that we want or need for them to do that. And that's not a slight. That's just, look, quite frankly, if we want to be able to throw 60-yard passes accurately, you have to make a decision on whether the arm talent is there. Will it be done consistently? Consistency enough, with enough consistency to be successful. And you got some answers. You got some, okay, well, we could do it every once in a while, but wasn't enough at a high enough efficiency for it to be a regular part of the playbook. Then you have to reassess. Okay, now running quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, and there's a difference. Understanding what you want to do. Being able to run zone read from it, even if it's not ideal, would it be effective? The type of play calling that you have on offense will dictate physicality, aggressiveness, and sometimes injury, and then having a backup plan for whatever it is. So if you've got QB1 that says, hey, listen, I can sling it, I can run zone read, I can I can get you upfield. I can break tackles and then move the chains. That the play call set that you use for quarterback 1A may not be all things in play for quarterback 1B. And that's okay because that's usually the case. Quarterback 1A is usually somebody that is of a higher level in multiple things and usually the most consistent of the bunch. we'll find out more about the quarterback position, because what we looked at on film with Dylan Raiola was several things, and a lot of those things that I'm about to say about Dylan Raiola, I can also say about Daniel Kaelin. Right? So if you're talking about size, you're talking about arm talent, and arm talent is sometimes misidentified. But I think in this case, if we're talking about the ability to make the 15 routine quarterback throws, especially those in the Big Ten, then you also have to consider, can you make those throws in November in freezing weather? Right? Can you do that in the snow? Do you have the hand talent? Because that's also a thing. Are your hands strong enough to handle the pounding that they're going to take? You're going to hit your cold hands and frozen hands, and then you get a helmet put on it. How you handle that matters. But what you see in Raiola and Kaelin is high IQ, their ability to look, process what they've been asked to do, and then not be assuming in how plays are going to, but being informed about where defenders are going to be, how they're going to be defended, not trying to overplay and put balls in certain situations. Now, again, Raiola's got a different level of arm talent than most of the quarterbacks in the country. And so that happens that the rocket arm quarterbacks tend to want to fit in space. But both of these quarterbacks have the ability to make receivers look better than they were and giving them separation. So whatever level of separation the receiver got, Dylan Raiola and both Daniel Kaelin and Raiola both extend the separation. They're able to throw the receiver open in a safe space so that yards after catch can happen. There's less wear and tear, less head hunting on the receivers. They're less at risk. Tight ends in space, hitting tight ends in the numbers, hitting slot receivers in the numbers instead of having those reach catches that sometimes can become tip drill. All of those things in play tell you that, listen, your ability to trust quarterbacks in tough situations. Every quarterback in the country can make the open throw, well, most can make the open throws in open space. But when there is friction, can they throw the receiver open and then not put them at risk while they're doing that? And I think when you look at the film on these two quarterbacks, what it gives you is some comfort. It also gives you some comfort in their ability to make plays, their ability to know, listen, there's a safety over top of this thing. So I've got to be, if I'm going to make an error, I'm going to make an error down. I'm not going to make an error up. I'm also going to throw through windows. And they're really good about sliding in pockets and finding an open window to throw through. It's pretty important to do. We'll put it to break here, but before we do, have super producer Rico, if you would please, let them know about LinkedIn.
Thanks, DP. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Back to you.
Hey, gang, DP here, Locked On Huskers, and going through the film study, we talked in the last episode about some of the big boys that are in play, and there's some big boys on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't want to focus entirely just on the offensive line, But the film study, there are things that you want to identify. And again, with the marquee saying Dylan Raiola, Daniel Kalen, right, 2 Elite 11 quarterbacks, that you now need to protect them. And the film study provides you a couple of things. Carter Nelson pops on the film study. And it actually allows you to start to imagine how to use Carter Nelson. Now, it's an interesting thing. At 6'4", 205, 210, that you would think, okay, he's going to blossom into this elite George Kittle, Travis Kelce kind of tight end. But the reality is he could actually fold into a combo that on film, one, you could put him outside and he can still run with the cheetahs, but on the inside could take a smaller corner and put him under duress, take a safety and outquick him. It'll be interesting to see what his ultimate size ends up being, but he's a multi-level receiver. This is somebody that you can pitch and catch with. This is somebody that you can option route with off the seam. This is somebody that you could run the receiver screen with. This is somebody who can get vertical on the hash mark and create some duress and actually clear out some other space for other people. Also, skinny post looks a thing of problem. He seems to adjust pretty well to routes, and he's a really good ball tracker. So you've given Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen and Heinrich Harburg somebody to look for in the eyes. And if you start to think of a time where you could have Fedoni and Carter Nelson on either slot or up and down the fours or fives that they would run out there are some matchup problems that could exist. Now, again, don't want to put the cart in front of the horse and say that, okay, Carter Nelson's the guy. But when you look at film and you see things in the space, that there's an athletic arrogance where he moves comfortably in everything that's being asked of him. He doesn't look awkward. He doesn't get off balance. He's got really good hands. His head gets around pretty quickly on the routes. There's a thing that they can talk about with that. He'll have to be able to identify Big Ten defenses so that he doesn't run himself into traffic. But the things that you can't coach, he has. And that's the case for several other players. And Grant Brix is kind of intriguing to me because he's sneaky quick with his hands. There are folks who get their hands in the right place. Show me a lineman with good hands and I'll show you a guy that I can work with, right? That sometimes linemen are big, strong, they can move people. But the moving requires good hand placement and some explosivity with your hands and being able to jolt and stun a defender. But he also has good reach. And in good reach, I mean not excessive reach. I mean that when he puts his hands on a defender, he's putting his hands on the defender to gain control of the defender, not to occupy the defender. And there's a difference between the two. There are folks that get there and want to get in the way. That serves value. There's a lot to that. But both Grant Brix, Preston Tamua, both use hands with purpose at a high level for high school offensive linemen. Most offensive linemen, when you come in and you're at 6 foot and over 260 pounds in high school, in a lot of cases, you're just the big bully on the block, and it doesn't take much talent or development for you to be productive. When you become better than, Talmua and Brix both use their hands to make their size and strength better. They get the hands to the right place. They never are just random with their hand placement. They're never just coincidentally getting their hands in the right place. They understand angles. They tend to set up the run play. They also make it easy for their quarterback to kind of know where they're going to be. So in their drop sets, it's not all over the place. It's not willy-nilly. They know, listen, I'm not going to let this guy take the inside route. So if you're going to step up, feel free to step up off my right hip, because I'm never going to let this guy get inside to that spot. You can watch that in high repetition and see that it's purposeful. It's not an accident. It's not an accident. And then to watch them in the kick step, and then for them to be able to drive defenders, edge setters, to extend the edge, right? To flatten them out, to take them deep, and then to use the same footwork in the run game. Because sometimes with big guys on the corner, you're really good at a drop step. You're really good in a run step, getting in the zone coverage and then getting upfield. But not everybody can do both. Both of these young men will give Nebraska some pretty good help up front. They're not 6'10". They're not, already, dancing around at the 325-pound mark. But I don't think it's necessary. But they will not look like kids at a grown-up party when they stand next to the current Husker offensive lineman. It won't look like, you brought your little brother to the party. It looks like you brought another dude. And that's a different kind of vibe. Plus, for me, they went 5 deep across. And when you look at the film of all of them, they look like Big Ten linemen. They don't look like, they don't look like your local high school kid just who happened to play tackle because he's the biggest dude. These look like guys who are there to do work. We'll throw the break there, put a pin in it. Rico, kind sir, if you would please let our fans know about FanDuel.
Thanks, DP. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Back to you.
Hey, gang, DP here, Locked On Huskers, and National Signing Day is a day where everybody feels, it's not always, but in this particular case, Nebraska fans feel a little bit better because you added some positions, you had some quality players in positions with a standard that hadn't always been met. I mean, to get the number one quarterback in the country is a big deal, and to back it up with all of the recruiting issue and drama and chaos that went with it. So you feel like, okay, if we had somebody ask me the question, and I'll share it with you, that if Dylan Raiola played at Nebraska this season at the same level he played at high school, would Nebraska have won more games than they did? Now, the honest answer is nobody knows. Nobody knows. But based on his production and his skill set, watching him make the throws, and then to put those throws into Nebraska's offense. So can you see the route combinations that he was throwing into? Did he see those in high school? And would they work at Nebraska? Does Nebraska run those? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. That he was asked to make some of the same, matter of fact, all of the very same throws that Nebraska did ask. And then you measure the talent and you measure the competition. Now, he wasn't playing against Big Ten defenses in high school, but he was competing to be the top quarterback in the country. So he showed no real fear, no real angst when it comes to throwing the football and making football throwing decisions. There was never really an issue. You never saw him look smaller than. He didn't look out of place. As I said, he didn't look like your little brother playing quarterback. My answer, honestly, is to hope that, quarterbacks who don't make silly adolescent mistakes on a high and consistent level would have won more games for Nebraska. I don't think anybody that watched the Huskers last year would say, listen, if the quarterback's better, would they have won more games? Yeah, at 100%. And that's not to slight. I mean, listen, I would dare say that the Nebraska coaching staff feels like they have a better coaching quarterback room this year. They will have a better room. But the question remains, would they be better? Would they have won more games with Dylan Raiola as the quarterback? We'll get some answers. There'll be more questions. We are told, in fact, that Chama Purdy has jumped into the transfer portal. The quarterback room will look different at Nebraska once again, except for this time. This time, we have hope. We have some reason to believe that this room will be better in 2024 than it was in 2023. If it is, this Husker fan base can start to exhale a little bit about winning games in the Big Ten Conference. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first one. Watch and listen each and every single day. Make Locked On Sports Today your second watch and listen. If you would please, your Huskers every day. I'm DP. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers part of your day. We'll close with the 3 words we love so much. Go Big Red.